I don't recall ever saying that the fourth review this month would be an animated atrocity. If I did, then there's been a little bit of a change of plans. A lot of people have guessed various things of what I was going to review, but none of them got it exactly right. Let me just say that the biggest things that you'll regret in life and your worst mistakes will be what you didn't do, not what you did. Perhaps what I'm about to tell you will make my hatred towards Nickelodeon's practices a little bit more clear. I'm going to take you through 3 stories where Nickelodeon failed to do something that made them look like idiots at best. And as you may have guessed, we're going to start with Pigeon Man. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Hey Arnold was a Nicktoon and was perhaps one of the best ones out there, next to Avatar. Well, there's a bit more to it. And let's just say that hindsight is a bitch. We've got a lot of ground to cover and little time to do it, so let's go. Pigeon Man starts with Arnold taking care of his pet carrier pigeons. Unfortunately, one of them doesn't seem to be doing too well. He's not eating all of his pigeon food. And just thinking that he's not feeling too well, Arnold sends him off. He almost crashes, but seems to be doing just fine. That is until Gerald comes around, saying that something's wrong with him. He drops out of mid-flight, but luckily Arnold manages to save him. Arnold thinks that he's going to have to take him to the vet, but Sid suggests that he takes Chester to the Pigeon Man. Even Helga is shocked by this suggestion. Who is the Pigeon Man? In a burnt-out building, many pigeons began flocking around. No one knows who or what Pigeon Man is. They think that he might be an alien, or a freak, or a lonely guy in a chicken suit only wanting birds for company.
So what's your point? The point is, he's one crazy psychopathic freak.
A reasonable conclusion. Arnold decides that he's going to save Chester by talking to the Pigeon Man, despite the stories and mysteries. He goes to the building and begins climbing it to the top, past pigeons by the hundreds. When he gets up there, he finds the Pigeon Man is just a typical guy. A bit weird, but okay.
This is Chester, my bird. He's pretty sick. He won't eat, can hardly fly.
Come back tomorrow.
You're going to keep Chester?
The meeting is a bit awkward, but it gives Arnold plenty of stories to tell his friends. Despite their mocking, he has faith the Pigeon Man will heal Chester. His belief turns out to be right the next day. Chester is fine. They start talking, and this is where the episode really shines.
Don't you ever get lonely up here?
Lonely for what? For people? No.
He did a project on birds when he was in elementary school, and became fascinated with them. And Pigeon Man introduces himself as Vincent, so Arnold decides to take him out for pizza. Harold and a couple of others are complaining that Arnold and Pigeon Man are bonding. They decide that since no one is up there watching Pigeon Man's stuff, they'll go up and mess with it. And they do. They destroy the place, and get attacked by all the pigeons.
Thanks for everything, Arnold. It was great.
Hey, it was the least I could do after what you did for Chester.
Oh, right. You need to pick up Chester.
They go upstairs to find the place destroyed.
What? This is awful! Who did this?
People, Arnold.
We can rebuild the cages and sweep up. Your birds will come back.
Of course they'll come back. They're birds. I trust them. I understand them. It's people I don't understand. You see, Arnold, it's time for me to leave here. Some people are meant to be with people, and others, like me, are just different.
Now, there's a reason that I wanted to talk about Pigeon Man specifically, now and not any other time. The original ending of this episode had Pigeon Man kill himself by hurling him off the building. Nickelodeon themselves said no because it would be too depressing. And you know what? They were right. It's not that Hey Arnold couldn't have pulled it off. It's just that the episode is much more uplifting having Pigeon Man fly off into the sun, learning that some people can be trusted.
Arnold, don't be sad. You've taught me that some people can be trusted. And I'll never forget that.
Where will you go?
Somewhere I can live in peace with my friends.
Yes, I could go the hypocrisy route. You know, SpongeBob was allowed to do this, but Hey Arnold isn't. I'm not gonna go that route. There was a time when Nickelodeon actually cared about offending people, particularly when it came to 9/11, as there's a whole episode of Hey Arnold that has never aired since that date, simply because a dream future New York City had its Twin Towers in the vista. Why is Nickelodeon striking such anger with me lately? Because they have the ability to say no to anything that comes across them, but they don't, no matter how insulting, traumatizing, or offensive that it might be. Nickelodeon, why are you looking to the internet for new cartoons when people are just dropping unique, charming, and not redundant gems into your lap? Take the Modifiers, for example. Yeah, you remember that, don't you? Maybe I'll give you a bit of a reminder. It starts with a rat in a museum trying to steal an artifact, when he sneezes and sets off an alarm. Luckily, he manages to escape in time.
When Baron Vine sees what I'm bringing him, I'll be his favorite henchperson ever.
Or not so luckily, because he's the villain. Someone called Lacey Shadows, who is apparently another robber working for the same organization, tricks him into revealing what he's got. Yeah, the rat is a bit of an idiot, which is probably why Shadows is able to steal it so easily. We get an interesting chase scene that seems to throw back to old cartoons, and in the meantime, it builds some of the world that this cartoon would have taken place in. Also, notice how uniquely designed the characters are, giving them each their own personality. The animation also pulls off a few tricks, and need I remind you that this is the pilot, not the finished product. We find out that Lazy Shadows is actually a double agent, named Agent Zero, and she has a living suitcase morphing thing named Mole.
I'm Agent Zero, Master of Disguise. My modular partner Mole and I are part of the secret mystery cracking team known as the Modifiers. We work around the clock to foil the evil schemes of Baron Vane and his goony legion of henchmen.
Awesome, we've got a setup. A little bit of a cheap tactic for a pilot, but it's a good setup nonetheless. I can see getting at least a couple of seasons out of that premise alone. And hey, it looks like these two actually have different personalities on top of different appearances. Yeah, that might be why I had a hard time getting the names of Sanjay and Craig right. They were pretty much the same character. Mole wants to send the orb right away, but Agent Zero actually wants to use it. A duo with opposing goals. That is so rare nowadays. And yeah, I mean, that is actually pretty rare. Not just on Nickelodeon. I mean Dipper and Mabel, Jake and Finn, or Mordecai and Rigby. They fight a bit, but they're usually trying to accomplish the same end goal in the same way. One of these main characters wants to do their job, and the other one wants to do all the cool spy stuff. Also, there are some classic cartoon gags like hurting the bad guy in the background. This ends up flooding the house and getting the all-seeing eye stolen. So they lost the artifact after they told their boss they had it, and the rodent is going to blow their cover, and Zero's ring keeps falling off. We've got another chase scene that lands them all in a graveyard. The rat enters a grave, and we get the sight of our villain, Baron.
My dear, pathetic runt. There's only one thing I despise more than anything, besides the sun and country music. It's being interrupted!
Yeah, he's a good villain. Zero and Mole break into the grave and change into Lazy Shadows. They pull the old switcheroo, and Agent Zero has the rat-faced Baron's wrath. And it turns out that Agent Zero lost her ring. So they have a unique style, likable characters, something that actually wouldn't be out of place in Nickelodeon, yet wouldn't feel redundant. It could have been great, but looks like we're left with a lost pilot and a cliffhanger. Who knows, maybe Cartoon Network will pick it up. But there was another cartoon pilot that Nickelodeon refused. Unlike the Modifiers, though, it actually managed to survive, and was picked up by another network. What was that cartoon? It was Adventure Time. Now, I've avoided talking about this show because it seems to be a very love it or hate it kind of show. I wouldn't go so far as to say I love it, but I really do like it. So why do I hate Fanboy and Chum Chum's random nonsense, but I actually like Adventure Time's random nonsense? It's actually really simple. In Adventure Time, no plot points are thrown up in the air. The plot points might not be necessary, but they're never forgotten. Adventure Time takes place in a totally alien world that does look like nonsense from the outside looking in, because that's what it is, nonsense from the outside looking in. But the true genius of Adventure Time is what they do tell you, little breadcrumbs of information. Let's take a look at I Remember You, and I'll show you what I mean. The episode starts with Ice King being, well, the Ice King. Yeah, he's supposed to be the typical pathetic villain. Apparently, he's trying to write a song that will help him attract princesses. And he decides almost randomly that he wants Marceline to help him write a song. He thinks that a tortured past will help make his song stronger. So they go to the past room.
A lot of emotionally powerful stuff in here. I'm still wet with tears. I'll take some of these for lyrical inspiration.
And his penguin tells him where Marceline is living. Finn and Jake see him and decide to pursue. Marceline comes out and tells him that she told him to stay away. All Ice King wants is her to help him write a song to help get princesses. Yeah, that's pretty much his thing. Anyway, the Ice King is so pathetic that he ends up tying himself up, much to Finn and Jake's surprise. However, Marceline decides to let him stay. Then Finn and Jake pretty much leave the episode. So Marceline and the Ice King begin to play a song that eventually dissolves to...
Won't somebody tell me what's wrong with me? God, please tell me why.
Marceline manages to stop him.
Stop acting crazy!
I just want to be loved. Uh-oh. I'm sorry I pushed you. Come on. Again, I'm sorry I pushed you.
Yeah, the Ice King is a weird character. They're all weird characters. Having a weird character or a weird show is not in and of itself a bad thing, as long as you manage to tell a coherent plot with your weirdness and keep your characterization coherent.
You're so annoying, you pitiful old man. I'd like to help you, but I don't know if I can. You know, I'm actually glad to see you. Maybe I'm the one who's nuts.
The Ice King is surprised to see that she likes him and they have a hug. Then he tries to kiss her.
Duh, you don't remember anything, do you, Simon?
What, man?
Look, this clipping, this was you, Simon, before the war.
Yeah, this show takes place after an apocalyptic war.
You took this picture. Ugh, you've scribbled all over it.
The Ice King thinks that they're lyrics, so Marceline starts singing. I can't really do this justice. Just listen to some of it.
Marceline, is it just you and me in the wreckage of the world? That must be so confusing for a little girl. And I know you're going to need me here with you. But I'm losing myself and I'm afraid you're going to lose me too.
Oh yeah, keep it going.
This magic keeps me alive, but it's making me crazy. And I need to save you. But who's going to save me? Please forgive me for whatever I do when I don't remember you. Look!
Marceline, I can feel myself slipping away. I can't remember what it made me say. But I remember that I saw you frown. I swear it wasn't me, it was the crown.
So basically, the crown keeps Ice King alive, but makes him lose his mind. And Marceline knew him before he wore the crown.
Da-da,
Da-da,
da-da, da-da.
Is it fair to say that Nickelodeon thought that they'd be turning down a story like this? No, of course not. But I'm forced to think that if Nickelodeon picked up Adventure Time, this story would not exist. And would anybody really blame me for thinking that? Look, I'm not going to say that Nickelodeon picked up Sanjay and Craig instead of Adventure Time. But it's really weird that people are coming to them with these shows that have a lot of potential, and Nickelodeon is looking online at the back corners of YouTube for new talent. I have to wonder what Nickelodeon is trying to do. Before, I thought that they were just trying to survive, as much of what they've been doing truly reeks of desperation. But how can you be desperate if people are coming to you with these shows, if you keep to these old practices that have brought you into your doldrums? Are they trying to create a specific image like Cartoon Network, which I will get to at some point? I understand keeping SpongeBob around. It's all they have to stand on. Fanboy and Chum Chum's creation might spell regrets when it comes to refusing Adventure Time, and only having a very cursory understanding of the show in question, but it's still all very confusing for me. I suppose the real question to ask is not what Nickelodeon has done wrong, but whether or not they can improve. That depends. I would say that Nickelodeon needs to be humbled, but I don't think that pride is their problem. Nickelodeon is essentially the artist that got addicted to heroin at some point in the past. Maybe they don't need to die. Maybe they just need an intervention before this kind of decision making kills them off. Wait, what?